I'm wanting things to be better with my wife, but she says I'm just doing this to manipulate her. She thinks I'm just doing all this to pull one over on her, I suppose. But what I really want is to improve our marriage. This is the C Note Show with Jeff and Cynthia. We've been teaching men in private practice for almost 10 years. We originated in the school system, working with at-risk youth and families, kiddos that had all kind of emotional trouble in their family and they had learning disabilities in the system. And so we love working with family system and improving marriage and relationships. And then we left the school system and we've been doing this in private practice for a long time now, almost 10 years.
I don't think I've specifically heard you're doing this to manipulate me. Thankfully, I have to say it's almost the last 2 years was just a bad nightmare because things are just normal now. Want them to, we both like them to be. But I think I used to hear, well, that's all very good. You're doing that to better yourself, but that does nothing. She never accepted the concept that bettering myself and being a good, solid man is the foundation around building attractions. It was almost like, well, you're just doing this, you're doing this, yeah, it's helping you. And I can see that you're trying to better yourself, but I don't really see that you're doing anything for us or to get us to a better place. Or so that's I can just kick it off with that. That's all.
Sure, that makes sense. So how did you handle that 2 years ago? And how would you handle it now differently?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I should backtrack. 2 years ago, it was this initial blurb where, 2.5 months in-home separation. Then all of a sudden, somehow she thought, "Oh, you're doing this work and you've changed." And I thought to myself, I've done jack shit. I don't think I feel really changed. But I think in the more recent past, before we kind of reset things recently, for I don't even I haven't even figured out how that just kind of turned. But how did I handle it? I kept saying, well, all I can do is work on me, and either that's going to be something you want to go along with, or hey, you're done. I mean, I kind of got, I think I told you, Jeff, I got to the point where I was just so fed up with just being beaten every day cerebrally by her. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of tanked out. So either you're gonna find this helpful, but I'm going forward. You can do what you want. It's basically, yeah. I had to.
Yeah, that's really well put. That's fantastic. And so fast forward to today, because I haven't asked you this for at least a few weeks. To today, what's been the key for you around this idea when she ebbs and flows? Wondering if the confidence is going to stay, whether this is real, whether we can stay on this path of improvement. How do you handle that now?
I suppose the next time I will have to figure out when the next time we get to a point of conflict. I mean, I think she picked up, for example, the other day where she was getting into that mode. I was expressing some frustration about a work-related issue or actually a personal issue, just this general feeling of loneliness and how I really felt like since we moved here, I haven't, I'm a man in my late 50s now, trying to find new friendships, trying to find a sense of belonging and community, and it's really lonely. And work itself is lonely because it's isolating. My team is based in Sweden and the UK, so I don't actually physically see them. So I was expressing that, and she went back into her mode of just she's terrible at empathy. I mean, it's just striking to me. She just tries to be like a guy and fix it, and turn. What you can do is no, I don't. I kept it to the guy. I said, no, I know I need to do that. I don't need you to tell me that. And she said, okay, well, I guess I'll just listen and I won't say anything. I'm like, yeah. So I think we've beaten this so many times. We've gone into that cycle of conflict and getting upset about it. Now we can. It's almost like we can anticipate where each person's going to go and nip it in the bud. I suppose if the question comes up again and she doesn't have confidence in this, it'll be some point of conflict. We can just at least hopefully say, well, look, we've been here before. We've gone through this storm before. Well, how are we going to? I think we're both very keen to kind of nip it in the bud, fix this, not go down the dangerous paths we've been before. So,
Yeah, that's all fair to say. My spidey senses are saying to myself, you said a lot of we there at the end, and you didn't ask
yeah.
me a question. I won't try to jump, but said a
Uh,
lot of, I hope we can handle this in a better way and we won't go around the rosy, basically. Well, if she starts to spin, it's your job to
Yeah.
be grounded and not push it, right? Not defend yourself, not explain, not say, "Hey, what about all this work we've done?" And
Right,
let's
right,
let's analyze this. The spot is for you to breathe and go slowly, which
yeah,
that's what I've seen you do over the
yeah.
past some number of months is breathe, go slow, smile like your great smile like you have. That's what I've seen you practice,
Yeah,
Jordan.
I mean, on that note, she was very keen about 2 weeks ago to get a new dog. I think my other dog died in December, right at the peak of facing divorce. A friend of mine died, my dog died. So we got a new dog, and she's been keen to kind of join me on walks in the morning with the other dog that I walk. And I said, she kind of got the sense that I don't really want her to join me on the walks anymore, because that is kind of the time that in addition to meditating in the morning is kind of a time where I can kind of declutter anything that's been bothering me about us or whatever. I can kind of talk myself, meditate on my thought, think about it. But she kept it up 3 or 4 days in a row this morning. She couldn't get up, so it was just me off to the races. So
Sure,
um,
yeah. If you don't want her to go, man, tell her, hey, I'm gonna go walk the dog by myself. There's another man on here right now that's come to that epiphany too, is he can tell her
well,
if
it's
he
the
wants
new
to.
dog. She wants to be kind of in charge of Orange. So I've tolerated it. But yeah, to your point, yeah, doing the work, knowing where I've been, if it comes up, I mean, and there are risks. She could go, I mean, there's still this in the background, this issue or the idea that her relationship with her parents is still not good. It's this longing. When one of them passes on, that's my therapist told me, that's going to be the next hit and potential risk for a spiral. How will I handle it then? Hopefully, I'll be able to, root myself back in what's being done here and reach into it
Yeah,
deep.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's well said. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for starting us off. I'll press pause on you. Yeah, one of the reasons that an every man is here that they've told me many times is they don't want to fall back into old habits. They want to keep this going. They want the momentum to keep going. And one of the things I'm hearing underneath the surface, I kind of called out there, and he's very aware of this, is this 50-50 feeling, this feeling that, let's say, culture or our expectations or that we were taught is everything's supposed to be equal. She brings her stuff, I bring my stuff. But that's not actually a polarized moment. That's great that you can be an open kind of therapy talk communication. Like that's cool, but that's not going to lead to attraction, intimacy, deeper growth and connection. That's just the 50-50 of day to day, which is great if you can do that. Not every not every couple can do that. But what you want and what has been practicing, and I honor him for this, is the polarized moments of talking less, let her be more emotional and expressive, call her into you in a deeper way, in a lover kind of way. And I'll ask Cynthia about that here in a little bit. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
I've got one for you, Jeff, and
Yeah.
nice to meet you, Cynthia, by the way. Last night, I was cuddling with my wife, and she brought something up, and we'll go back a week. We're on a date, and she's looking at me and she's saying, I'm skeptical that this new confidence is going to last, right? Like I've seen blips before, but I'm skeptical that it's actually going to last this time. And then she's like, I like how nice you're being to me. Like, what are they teaching you that you're actually being nice to me? Like, is it a secret? Because I was kind of holding back and telling her the details of it, you know? And so fast forward to last night, and what she brings up to me is that she's like, she doesn't think I'm manipulating her, but she says me not sharing the process with her has made her feel disconnected. And maybe Cynthia can elaborate on this because I told her, I said, well, to be honest with you, it's not so much keeping it a secret from you. Like she's convinced it's a cult, just so you know.
I think that's what we all hear. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I said, well, honestly, it's more about not running to you for validation. Because in the past, I would come to you, it's like she would give me suggestions, and I would come and check in with her and, like, hey, look at all these good things I've done. Will you like me now? Right. Versus now, she's like, oh, I see what you're saying. You want to show me, not tell me. I'm like, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm like, there is no secret, really. It's just building up my self-confidence, identifying my values and boundaries and working from a place of groundedness. Um, so I that came up last night, and the connection started. We like you could kind of feel the magnetism, and I told her I appreciated her bringing that up. So I was kind of curious on your take on that, Cynthia, kind of where she's coming from.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great question.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'm just so enamored with how you led that and her question and how you led that forward and the resolution. And there probably will be moments as the system, she experiences the system between the two of you shift and change that will come up again. The why of that is that really bottom basement instinctual part of a woman where I absolutely can feel if you're not aware and your man's doing something different and it seems very closed and almost in the cave with the other men, the whole instinctual part of a woman can get really nervous or scared because for her to be left out of something or to not be in the know uh, could mean that you're going to leave, you're going to change something without her knowing. Being left out in the instinctual mind means, hey, I may not survive this. And he might find a life that's better somewhere else. And again, that's totally instinctual. That's not the current modern day world. But I think a lot of women, even when women get really negative about, they overhear like anyone like is on a call and they overhear a little snippet and they get really nasty about it or accusatory. It really is that instinctual urge biting up and get her like concern about what's going to change, how it's going to affect her is rises.
Yeah, I mean, one other thing she said to me, she's like, we don't keep stuff from each other. We talk about stuff. That's what we do. I'm like, okay, babe. I'm like, whatever you want to know, just ask me and I'll tell you. So one of my questions is, I kind of understand I'm working on the high value, low value type of stuff, and it's like taking issues to men and my male friends. It's like, what is good for me to share with her about this process?
Sure. Well, that's a big question. So to keep that answer short, and I want to before I forget that a woman is always wanting to feel the growth of depth, the action of expansion, the action of her man being grounded, the action of depth happening, not just check boxes like we're good, I'm fine, check boxes. So I want to come back to that. Uh, so what to share have you gotten to when we teach scar versus open wound? Have you heard this before?
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit.
Okay. So what to share, and I would have to go off on teaching a whole. So you share a scar, something that you've made philosophical sense of, and not an open wound, which is what something you're currently in anxiety about. This is what I started to poke about a little bit, but I didn't want to go into it too much. Like, oh, I'm so worried about this thing at work. Current flow of open wound of anxiety. It's not a good idea to take to your wife. And we've talked about why, and we could go off on a tangent. But what to share, like I've led you, is when she asks, then you share your philosophical point of view. What's going on for you? The high emotion, the low emotion of the situation. So you have emotion. You're a deep man. You share the highs and lows, but you don't run to mommy, to your point. Okay. Now, let me just add on to real quick. Cynthia was speaking of the instinctual level of relationship. She doesn't want to be left out. You could go get something different and new. This is why, by the way, things are going so great for the two of you is you're resetting this instinctual desire between the two of you. Then healthy communication is more therapeutic talk, as I was mentioning, that seemingly like and his wife do a lot of. And then level three, deep conscious intimacy is what your wife is knocking on the door of when she's saying, we don't hide things from one another. We share things with one another. I feel disconnected from you. I know you and your wife. And so she's saying that in a desire to feel your deepening consciousness and growth of the moment. In other words, it's a test. It's an unconscious test to see how you'll handle it. Because if you say, bitch, leave me alone, I don't know what to talk about, or like, well, because you're crazy, I need to figure this out on my own, so you're
Oh,
not doing
I thought you told me to say that.
yeah, yeah.
Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah.
That was step 2 of the
Yeah.
process.
Bitch,
Oh,
back
okay.
off. Like, yeah. What do you want from me? Like, no, those aren't right. So, so if you
No,
don't
you're right. And in that moment, it's a shit test, like you talk about,
right.
right? It was the shit test, and I said, one thing I want to do is grow together and build more of a connection, and that's what I'm trying to do. And if you feel more comfortable with me sharing my process, I'm more than happy to just ask me, and I'll tell you. But I'm not going to just come to you because I don't want to be in that same cycle we were before, where I'm seeking that validation.
Mm.
That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. And what you're doing all three levels as we teach one, two, three, I just showed of relationship. Okay. So for sake of this call, and we haven't talked about this for a while, what does a woman want to experience in the moment? So the depth of consciousness of a man, the why give the shit test, even though she's not trying to do that. What is that about? What is she searching for in a level 3 way? When she asks or says, it feels like you're hiding something or you're disconnected.
Yeah, and I think, and I am guilty of this as well. A woman will try to mine out your current wound if that's her only experience of depth. And so when she learns that through a man like you, that the depth she's seeking is that she gets to be a part of the soul journey. She so much wants to be on the adventure of depth with you. She wants to be included in that, as in her horse gets to ride next to your horse on this journey. Your journeys are separate, but she gets to know more of the soul through the journey you're perfecting for yourself. And that's what she's craving in terms of wanting to be a part of. It's that.
Yeah, the actions of that, the action of feeling like you're on the horses together, that she's riding with you. It's not like a man who wants to check the box and just relax and say like, "We're fine, leave me alone, everything's good, let's fuck later and be fine with it." She wants to experience journey, but that's what we're learning and what we teach is, well, what's the journey that's actually healthy, connecting, intimate, effective? Because the journey that's taught, and this is a good segue, so let me press pause on you, Justin. I appreciate it. What's taught in the world, let's say, and I love bringing research from my favorite website is Psychology Today to bring some kind of like bullshit. Either, yeah, that's obvious, that doesn't help me, or this is really off. This actually isn't helpful at all, and it's going to lead me in the wrong direction. So I love bringing some research. Most of these are from PhDs. If I Google wife says I'm manipulating her, which is the topic of today. These are the first results, and this is just what I could fit in one screenshot. Are you being manipulated in your relationship? Manipulate your way to a better relationship. By the way, number 2 is written by a divorce attorney. Manipulate your way to a better. Number 3, gaslit and deceived. 3 ways we fall for manipulation and 20 signs of emotional manipulation. Okay. None of these are what was searched. None of these are helping the man understand why his wife is saying, you're manipulating me. All they're doing is really supporting the idea you are being manipulated, or look at these ways where you are being manipulated. For example, from this guy, this PhD, gaslit and deceived, it was on that list. 3 ways we fall for manipulation. You might be strengthening a gaslighter's grip on you without realizing it. When someone gaslights you, your instinct is to defend yourself. Well, yeah, when you're unregulated, when you feel bad about your life, when you don't know which way is up, when your relationship isn't doing well, most people end up defending themselves. If you're in fight or flight, you're in a defensive mode. So it's not, you're not just feeling defensive when you're being gaslit, you feel defensive a lot if you're not doing well in life or don't feel good about yourself. So a husband or a wife, it's like, oh, well, I feel defensive because he's gaslighting me. The second bullet, try this. I know what I heard and I don't need to prove it to you. Yeah, just stay embroiled in your delusion. Okay. Don't listen to anybody else around you. Number 3, remember, anyone who truly loves you won't question your reality. won't make you question your reality. That's bullshit, actually. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. What we want in a deep relationship is to be a partner and grow life together and learn about life together and challenge each other. And that's not true at all. So, and then here's the final point of that article. Take back your reality. If you see yourself in these patterns, don't blame yourself. Manipulative partners are skilled at making you doubt your mind. But awareness is the first step. Trust your instincts, hold your ground, and remember anyone who truly loves you won't make you question your reality. So imagine even being a man typing the title in we did today, which is I'm working on myself and she feels like this is manipulation. You're just going to get this kind of victimy supporting your defensiveness crap from a lot of Google. So that's why we're here to teach. That's why we're here to teach. Okay, how can I look at this? And here's some other examples from men, and then we'll take a step forward. This is a man who wrote me a while back. Let's see. Oh, he's been working with me one on one and in groups for about a year now. They were separated. They're back together into the same house. Full sex and intimacy is happening again. Their children are, they have a, I believe, about a 4 year old and a 1 year old, maybe a 2 year old now. So the whole deal, we're fully separated when he came to this work. And he wrote this, I think this is from a year ago. Interesting day. Now think about his process around, does she feel like I'm manipulating her? So he's doing this for himself. I went to the lake just to be by myself without a huge agenda. I did some kayaking and cooked a great steak. I listened to quite a bit of our group videos and took notes and almost finished this book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. It's a weird feeling. I'm not in distress because he's taking care of himself. He's following through on his values. I'm not in distress, and there's a neutrality I have with my relationship that seems familiar yet new. So he's not freaking out or in fear about things in the moment he wrote this. I hate that this is the second time I've been in the midst of a separation with my wife, but a silver lining is that I have my old journal cover to cover from the last time. I want to be good for me and hopefully us, but my fear is slipping when I get out of the recovery zone. Again, we have to keep working on the new man that you're becoming, right? It's not just, it doesn't happen overnight. He says, shit, it's not bad right now. I have zero expectation or desire to manipulate the situation to suit me, anything other than full version 2.0 of myself and 2.0 of the marriage, should God grace us with that. Despite the neutral feeling I have about the relationship, I know I care for my wife deeply and want the best for her. I want the best for me too. And this is what every man wants in this cult, by the way. Welcome. I don't have the tinfoil hat today. I'll keep it in the drawer so we don't, But welcome to the cult of I want to feel great. I want to have an awesome connected relationship. I want to honor her. I want us to feel passionate about one another. We want to be great parents. We want to be great people in the world. Salute or whatever. I don't know what I'm supposed to do for the cult thing. But here's another one that's harder. Okay. This one's a little bit more inflammatory. It's harder. I put this here on purpose, obviously, and I want to talk with Cynthia about this. This is a different man. He wrote, oh, by the way, this is probably 7, 8 months ago, and their relationship, they were separated for months. And it looks like, as I spoke with him yesterday, that they are on the new footing of starting something brand new potentially. It looks like they're starting to date one another, which may not make sense after I read this, but here we go. He wrote, we talked again this morning, his wife and him, and I just decided I'm totally done. After a few hours, the rose-colored glasses fell off. The way I've allowed myself to be treated is fucking pathetic. I'm angry now and journaling all of the bad things. I almost can't believe I've tolerated this stuff and still put tremendous effort toward this relationship, despite her behavior and actions for at least 2 years. The fact that narcissistic abuse, quote, narcissistic abuse or quote, financial manipulation were even mentioned by her is absolutely insane. Totally lost myself in this relationship and let it get out of hand. I don't think I could ever trust her again. It would take a Herculean act of atonement. So, Cynthia, when a woman is shielding herself, when she doesn't believe things can get better for whatever reason, whether she's already talking with another guy or she's been kind of feeling dead inside for years and just being a mother or being in career, making money, for whatever particular reason, why might she say, oh, I don't believe this. You're just manipulating me. This is narcissistic. This is manipulation. Where is she coming from at the beginning of her closure in that way? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that feels like there's different layers to that. One, it's kind of human, and women are really good at, you want to, whatever her current state or feeling is, she wants to gather evidence to why she has that current state to prove her point to herself, and have a sense of, I have power against this. Like I have some stability against this, and that shield closes, and she needs a reason for that shield, and she needs to feel kind of one-upmanship so that she can remain closed to that. And then there's the other part of being human, and very much a part of women, is that even when something that hasn't always been great shifts and changes, she's going to cling to what's familiar, mostly because she has no idea what the other option is, what level 3 relationship can be. So it's a lot more comfortable to stay in the mode that you're the villain in her Shakespearean play. She's the damsel in distress. She's never going to let her shield down, and having labels on things, putting labels on situations in your relationship is a way for her to keep that identity and that blocking to what seems kind of scary and new and unknown.
So how can a man engage with that or combat that, or what should he do when she feels closed like that? What's actually effective in that moment towards something healthy, towards something opening and vulnerable and real?
Yeah, and I always want to lean toward, I know every woman in every situation is slightly different, and how you would say things would be different and for your situation. However, the idea that, like, there's a table, the kitchen tables between the two of you, and anything that's kind of not brought to the table kind of hangs out beneath and grows bigger. So even putting things on the table, like, hey, this might seem new and different. Hey, this might feel like you're not sure where things are headed with us. Or hey, that might be feel anxious or make you mad, or a lot of frustrations, feels like a lot of frustrations are built from the past are kind of on the table now. That for a woman is the way for her to diffuse the emotion around it, because it's witnessed, and it's also you not being okay with this grime and grit that's just under the table and not kind of sweeping it out.
Yeah, I've encountered this whole manipulation thing for a couple years now that I've been doing men's work. And I've been very transparent with her, probably more than I really should. And she does recognize the changes. And I'll take that as a compliment. They're few and far between these days for sure. But she sees the improvement. She doesn't trust it. She is very quick to point out, kind of to your point, Cynthia, about one-upsmanship. The second I kind of sink back into old habits, she'll say, "Up, another 25 steps back you just took there." It's just, it's just demoralizing. That it's almost like she is just kind of, with her intuition, just really sensing, can I be consistent and do the words match the actions? So that's the challenge. And it's funny. I've never discussed the staircase of intimacy with her, but she referred the other day to, it's like this whole men's work is formulaic. You're just trying to get from one step to another. And I know what you ultimately want. You want passion and intimacy, but there's so many steps in between that. And I feel like you're just trying to find a formula to take me down that path, and that's where it just really kind of falls apart for me. But I guess my question is, what's the best way to respond to just complete mistrust like that? And yeah.
Well, mistrust when she says, "Oh, you're trying to find a formula," or mistrust in another
Mistrust about, I know what you're up to. You're trying to find a formula. You're trying to manipulate me to ultimately get what you want. She's just kind of skeptical of men's work to begin with because it's, it just seems very polarizing and very stereotypical. And so she just absolutely has her guard up. And because of the men's work, I almost feel like it's added a few more bricks to the wall there at times.
Sure, I'll answer your question. When you say because of the men's work, how, so it's polarizing. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Right, because a lot of the men's work that we engage in really is around the concepts of polarization and attraction and the masculine and the feminine and how they get all mixed and mangled together. And I get myself in trouble whenever I start talking that language because she
Oh
she
yeah.
she doesn't buy it at all. It's like, well, I'm a unique person, you're a unique person. What does any of this gender-based stuff have to do with anything?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you try to talk a woman into
Right.
logically wanting to fuck you when she's not into it, not gonna go good. Okay. So that's the first thing. Let me answer your question. If I'm you and she says, it looks like you're trying to get some formula to just get what you want. And I would say, well, what I want is a connected, passionate relationship between the two of us. And if she says, ew, gross, I don't want that, well, we've got a fundamental problem here. Okay. If I have a piece of paper and I drew a horizontal line, so there's a spot below and a spot below above this line, and there's a line across the page, the denominator here needs to be common ground of values, common ground of where we want to go together, what we're building together in relationship. That's the beginning. That's the foundation. So if you and she, I think I said that right, if you and she don't both want a connected, passionate relationship, that's a non-starter. If I say I want to build I want a new building in that lot over there, and the other person wants the garden and the trees to stay, but I want to bulldoze the trees down and build a house, we're not even going to get past, first step one. No, we're not on this. So if she says, ew, gross, I don't want what you want, that's a non-starter.
Yeah. And my situation, Jeff, that really is kind of the no man's land I've been in. And she's just not even ready to scale those heights yet. So I can clearly see that I just need to detach and not put that pressure and expectation on her while we're informally separated.
Well, that's right. And I'll just make a point here, and you and I have been working together, and I'll make a point for right now, and then we'll take a step forward. So the levels of relationship, these are Cynthia and my levels. Like we created this. It's based off of a lot of 100 years of psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, evolutionary psychology, etc. Gottman forms of marriage therapy. Cynthia and I are both uh, certified in the two levels of the Gottman marriage therapy training. So, but these are our three levels, and they build upon each other, level one, level two, level three. Now, when you first meet someone, you don't really care much about healthy communication. It's not part of biology and the honeymoon phase and all that. It's more instinctual desire and the fantasy, the projection of what you want in the future with this person. We could talk more about this another time, but I think y'all have heard of this. When we first meet someone, and there's a hell of a lot of projection happening, the fantasy, the Disney story that you hope is going to happen with this person that you just met. Okay. But as you get into relationship, you have to build these three levels. You have to keep building and stoking instinctual desire and safety. This is what polarization is. This is what masculine, feminine, polarized is. Level two is not polarized. 50-50. We're roommates, we're parents. We have to do life together, pay our taxes together, talk about who's going to water this plant and who's going to water that plant, all this. And then level three is the quote fantasy that everyone needs skills to be able to continue to build over time. This doesn't happen automatically like the fairy tales say. This is the lover energy. This is how to keep polarity alive, right? So if you're sitting in front of a woman who don't need no man and makes her own money and I should need a man and what's this gender bullshit you're talking about and I got my vibrator and fucking just help me watch the kids and stop asking for sex, ew, gross, you want into okay, that's not a shared value. That's not a shared value set. And so we have to go back to the point of we have to go back. We, meaning you being wanting this relationship, wanting this work, back to level one, back to what is instinctually attractive, what is instinctually feels good for me, what instinctually helps me bring joy into my life, like I had before I even met her. How do I bring safety into this environment? Not bringing anger, not bringing judgment. Those are the healthy foundations of where you are, right? And so I'll press pause on you, bud, and we'll take a step forward here.
If you have questions, post them in the comments below. Also, go up to our video details. We have a link for our online video training course. It's all about turning your marriage around.
If you want to see more of our stuff, go to our website, greatmenmovemountains.com. We've got free things here. So the first one there is how to be invited into these calls, got a free audiobook and one-on-one coaching with me. Or if you want to buy Cynthia and I both recorded our paid training course called The Kingly Life Path. It's there. All right, guys, let's step forward. So I want to ask Cynthia about this. Here are some takeaways for today. And this is a good segue from what I was just talking about with her. My wife thinks I'm manipulating her with this men's work. Number one, it's good and okay to want a healthy, connected relationship. It's good and okay to want a healthy, connected relationship. Number two, values and boundaries, quote unquote, are invitations in how to be with you. Your values, your boundaries are not rules for her. She doesn't have to do anything that you believe or say. She doesn't have to want a relationship with you, but you want a relationship. You want to be a good man, a connected man, a grounded man, a safe man. And you want her to be those things with you too, to build together. So values and boundaries are for you. They're invitations of how to be with you and keep improving your life regardless. So this is the level one I was just saying, your health, service to the world, growth for yourself. So, Cynthia, why are these things, and are these things naturally attractive that a man believes it's good and okay to want a healthy relationship regardless of her closure, that he learns his values and boundaries regardless, and that he keeps improving his life at a base level regardless? Are these things attractive? Is that what you would say if she's very closed down right now? What do you say about those things?
Yeah, even finding the initial words feels tough because that is so baseline. It's as if you're giving the instinctual part of her a bedrock to stand on, because so many of these things, your wife has come to you as a person who was once a child who learned ideas about relationship, about boundaries long before she met you, and often doesn't know what's different and what's possible. All she knows is there's a yearning in her and a drive for something. And the part about values and boundaries are invitations for how she gets to be with you. You might even be dealing with a woman who all her life has experienced that boundaries are a way to divide and push away and punish. And so she reacts as if that's the game of it. But to find out that that's not, that it's actually a portal, a door for her feminine, her softer part, her part that's not in high alert to step into towards you, is the softening that allows a woman to be so attracted, to feel your groundedness and feel the bedrock of you, and to feel the different landscape you have created for, if she's lucky enough to get to step in and walk through with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to see you guys. We love your questions. Love seeing your faces. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Ciao.